Farming is something that you can't go into purely because you just want to make money. You need to have some sort of passion for it. The big problem in farming is feed. That takes possibly over 70% of our operating cost.
This is the story of Mr. Abayomi Oniku, a livestock farmer here in Nigeria. In our previous video, we focused on how he raises different breeds of cattle. But in this video, we are going to dive deep into how he breeds dogs, pigs, and other livestock such as fish, turkeys, layers, and broilers.
We have plans to grow our layers to about 200,000 birds. When I see some of these young guys that you don't know what they will have been doing outside, but they are now being employed. For some of them, they can do this on their own.
I just want you to give us like a brief idea of what you do as a person.
For me, I've always loved animals growing up, right? I've had dogs all my life growing up. I'm a Lagosian and I grew up in Lagos. I'm trained to be an economist and an accountant. Oh. So I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Accounting of Nigeria. I do payment technology, so for payments, outbound payments, for collections, receiving as an organization. So I do that, right? I'm an ESCO of the Caucasian Shepherd Kennel Association of Nigeria. So I'm one of the executive members of, the founding members of that body. So we have capacity fish for like 40,000 fish here. Again, so really? We have the hatchery room and then where we hatch. So some of them, we take them up to fingerlings or juvenile and then we sell them off. Then we keep the ones we want to stock on our farms and then we stock. So we take them on to a level where we can sell them for, so we have 4 ways that we can sell them as fingerlings or juvenile as a baby. Okay. We also sell them at smoking size. We also sell them at table size and then the giant size for roasting, right? Okay. And then broodstock. Yeah, so this is where we started from. Okay. You see, the fish. So the first thing as raising fish, we started from a concrete pond, right? Okay. From this concrete pond, we realized that it's a lot. It's capital intensive. It's a lot of money to construct this. So we migrated from this to having tarpaulin, right? So now we have tarpaulin pond. So here, this is where we have our broodstock, right? Unfortunately, we don't change their water often. So as you can see, because of stress, so you can't see a lot of them, but they are quite big. Some of them are they are between 1 to 3 years of age. They are quite big. Some of them are getting to up to 5-6 kg, right, already. These are a few of our grow outs. Just coming up, you can see we have a few of the grow out here in this place. They are changing water, so that's why you can see, right? So,
is there like a particular feed you guys use for the fishes?
Yes, but I don't want to promote a brand. I don't want to say a brand here. Yes, that's business. So when they are after hatchery, when they can eat, I will give them imported feed. Okay. That helps them to grow a lot because they are very good quality, very expensive, very, very expensive. Then once they get to what they call a juvenile, we transition to Nigerian feed, and then we feed them that until they get to 6 mm. Most of the time they get to that 6 mm around 2 to 3 months or thereabouts after hatching. And so once they get to that level, then we still give them that particular feed, then we mix it with another feed that is, at that point, we try to reduce our cost. So there is a cheaper feed that we mix with it. Still a Nigerian produced feed, then we mixed it with that other one at 6 mm so that they take that still they grow. So we have three different ways that we sell. We sell when we hatch at fingerlings, at juvenile standard level. Some of them we take them to from into grower, and then we sell at smoking size, and then we now also take some to table size.
For the poultry section, which type of birds do you guys keep here on this farm?
So yeah, so we have four subsections under poultry. We have turkey, and the turkeys we hatch ourselves. So we have the parent stock, so we get the eggs and then we hatch. We have noilers. We also have the parent stock for noilers, so we also hatch our noilers and take them. So we sell for turkey, for noilers, we sell them at day old, we sell them when we hatch at 1 week, at 2 weeks. People come in and get them. And then some of them we take them ourselves to adults, and then we sell for meat. Then we have the layers that we have for eggs, right? So people come in here to come and buy eggs, every day, right? And then we have the broilers. The broilers, we only do them occasionally. The stress is massive for broilers.
Yeah,
So we only do them as festive season, because for me, I mean, that's the only time that it makes sense in terms of the return. So I only do them at festive seasons. And then, so yeah, so about 4 subsection under the poultry. That's what we have.
okay.
We started pig, I think, last year, around February last year, right?
Okay.
We started with 7 pigs.
7 pigs.
Yeah, we currently have about 96 pigs, and we've sold. I'm sure we've sold more than 150 pigs
Really?
since last year.
How big? How big are they?
They are massive. They are very big.
What's
They
the
are very big.
interesting thing about rearing pig?
One interesting thing is that they give birth a lot. We've had 16 before piglets.
Just one?
Yes, 12, 16. We've also had one before. We've met very few. In fact, I think once. We've only had once, a singleton once.
Okay.
A piglet, a mother that gave birth to just one piglet. So we breed dogs. We breed Caucasians and Basset hounds. Those are the 2 breeds I currently own and we breed. So the Caucasians, our parent stocks are imported. The Basset hounds, our parent stock are imported. There is a standard for Caucasian dogs, and we always ensure that our puppies fit into that Caucasian standard. So we sell puppies. I'm sure you've seen our pages. You see some of the puppies that we produce. We currently have over 30 dogs. And that's because we sell a lot of dogs, right? As we don't sell, we probably have more than 1,000 dogs. The big problem in farming is feed. I mean, that takes possibly over 70% of our operating cost, right? Next to it is, of course, salary. But feed is massive, right? For me, the biggest challenge is solving how do I reduce my cost of feed for these animals. At the same time, you can't cut corners, because these animals, again, like I said, whatever you eat is what you produce. Whatever you eat is, you can tell, right? So once you cut corners, you don't feed them well, or you don't feed them with quality food, you can immediately see it, right? In them, either in the production of eggs, or either in the growth, or either in the weight for the ones that we sell for meat. So yeah, so we try to juggle these things to see how we are able to do it in such a way that we still make some profit for the farm. So the biggest challenge for me is feed. Closest to it will be medication as well, right? The cost of medication is also going up.
In regards to people that are looking at going into farming, considering the fact that you venture into different sections of this livestock, where do you think people should start from, and What capacity and what capital margin should they be looking at?
For farming, you can start big, you can start small. If you are doing it within your compound, you can start with even chickens. And I started that even in Lagos, right? So you can put some chickens there. I put a male there. They will give birth. And during festive season, people will ask you, "Do you want to sell any one of your males?" You get the point.
I
So,
get it.
and then you make some money from there. If it's goats, you can start with a male, two female. You can even start with only female. And if you have somebody that has a male, I'll take the female there to go and crossbreed. You can start with rams. It depends on, so it is an individual thing. I started with dogs. You can start from dogs if that's your passion. There have been a lot of people that have cautioned against starting too big because you make some mistakes, right? No matter how, right? You'll make some mistakes. You learn along the line and then get better. We've also made mistakes, right? And then we are at this level now that we know that we've stabilized. We are now in a position to project the farm and make it bigger and make serve the community and also make good money as well.
What do you think about people in the diaspora too, in
It's a
terms
good
of
way. I mean,
coming back to invest?
diaspora in Nigeria, you are currently doing some other work, you have some extra cash that you want to invest. It's a good area too. I mean, and again, for farmers, because we feed these living things, there is also a blessing attached to it. It's not just the fact that you are making money, you are also feeding something created by God. Right, so there is a blessing. Apart from that, you are also employing Nigerian youths. Like I mentioned to you, we have 14 staff in the farm. For me, that's the joy when I see some of these young guys that you don't know what they will have been doing outside, but they are now being employed. For some of them, they can do this on their own if they have capital. So if they see access to fund, they can even do this. They can practice this farming, and that's the joy for me. So for people in diaspora, please come in, establish this farm. Make sure you have a trusted hand that can help you to manage it. Employ Nigerians to work there. You will be helping not just them, even their family, their children, their extended family, because whatever you pay them also gets to those ones. So you are sowing the seed in Nigeria. And trust me, there's no way God will not bless you.
One last thing before we go, just very briefly. Some people want to invest, but they're scared of people just making away with their money and all whatnot. Do you have like one or two ideas that can help people, manage that aspect, to avoid being scammed by people?
So, I mean, you have to do your due diligence, right? And due diligence means that at least you must have somebody that you trust. And that person that you trust must be able to establish that, number one, the farm exists where you want to invest. That's if you are investing in a farm, an existing farm. If you are not investing in a farm, if you have somebody that you trust, then you must be able to, and you must find time to come. If I were to be abroad and I wanted to invest, at the initial stage I'm taking that decision, I'll come. I want to see the farm that is being purchased for me, the location, the land. I want to see it. I want to see maybe even the foundation being done, growing up. And then I want to have an arrangement with who is minding with me. Like even now that I'm in the same town with where my farm is, I still ask my people, even this morning, they've sent me videos of some animals. Oh, okay, look at this animal. I want to see it. So you must demand some of those, and you are not demanding because you don't trust them. They are demanding to show them that you have interest, so that they know that this thing is important to you, right? So, and that's it. So you must have somebody that you trust, and then you must also be part of it. You must be involved. You can't just say, "Oh, because I have the dollars, I just fling it." Then people will assume that, oh, it's just money that you can, But when they see that you are committed to it, you traveled to come. If you can't, you have somebody that you trust and can help you do it. And then you can see evidences. Not from the point of view of that they want to scam you, but from the point of view of you are really, really interested and you want to be part of it all the step of the way.
All right, guys. So there you have it. We've come to the end of the second part of this video. Now, if you've not watched the first part where he talks about, the cattle, you need to check it out to see how big it is, and then to envision, what he's projecting for the future. This is one of the things that we'll try to bring on this channel. This is one of the ideas we try to promote on this channel, to help people see the importance of farming in Nigeria, in Africa, and even in the world. Do well to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and also subscribe to their channel as well. I'm going to be bringing more videos, on this channel, so make sure to also turn on your post notifications so you get notified whenever we post a new video. Thank you very much, sir, for this awesome. I believe we've learned a lot, and I believe you've also learned a lot. So, thank you very much, sir, for having us once again.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure
Thank
to
you so
do
much.
this with you.